So we're a group called Dear Director, and our motive for this project was to identify and challenge the gender stereotypes present in Hollywood. We created a series of sketches asking the director and those in peril why these stereotypes are present and whether they're still needed in our films today.
Dear Director, why is it sexy for a man to be angry?
But it makes a woman a psycho bitch.
Dear Director, how come when a girl gets dumped, her whole life falls apart? Why does her life revolve around guys?
Okay. You'll find another man who'll make you invalidate your feelings. Dear Director, why is it that when you have black people in films, they only ever use as props and not actual characters?
Dear Director, why is it that all Asians are portrayed
as a human calculator?
Dear Director, why does the geeky girl need a makeover to fit in?
Ooh, hey!
Hi!
Dear Director, why is the blonde girl always popular and nasty?
Oh my god guys, did you see how cute he was?
I know!
Dear Director, why does there always have to be a gay best friend?
We also then asked other people from other groups on their personal opinions with stereotypes in Hollywood.
So, have you picked up on any stereotypes in films and does it affect you in any way?
Yes, typically women tend to have less clothing on in films, and it's quite annoying. It can be quite angry because men don't get treated the same way. They typically won't be wearing full clothes, and a woman would probably be in tight clothes or barely anything. It's quite annoying.
So I don't know if you've seen the film Say Anything, but basically what happens is the girl says no and the guy carries on pursuing her and like puts a boombox outside her window. Now, would you say that's romantic or perhaps slightly stalkerish?
I wouldn't say it's romantic. I think films romanticize it and make it seem romantic, but if a girl says no, then pursuing her isn't something that's romantic at all in real life.
Yeah. So are you aware of any stereotypes in film, even if they don't particularly affect you? Are there any that bother you in any way?
Well, there's kind of that manic pixie dream girl trope that you see in a lot of films. It kind of like makes it seem like the woman is kind of just there for the man's benefit and everything's centered around the man's like story. I guess that's the kind of idea of what's it called again? The male gaze.
So do you think there are any particularly damaging stereotypes in Hollywood?
Yeah, I think there are several damaging stereotypes in Hollywood, especially in films. For example, many superheroes that are depicted as strong and heroic and the protagonist, they are usually men and they are not really female. And usually those very little female characters who are heroes, they are usually depicted as strong women as well. But I think what Hollywood failed to consider is that women can be equally strong by being feminine as well, when they have certain feminine qualities. For example, if they are soft spoken, if they are perceived to be gentle or not as outgoing as strong female characters, they are not really considered as heroes in these films. And I think what these films should do is to promote the idea of femininity as well, instead of just promoting the strong and overpowering women in films. Yeah.
So do you think there are any particularly damaging stereotypes in Hollywood at the minute that affect you?
I think that in Hollywood, generally, across movies, they tend to play on a lot of stereotypes. I think that's important in the film industry, obviously. It's trying to get a reaction out of people, trying to make good TV, get published. I think to some extent it should be controversial, but I think that these can be offensive. I think, for example, the way that people of colour are often depicted as the bad person, or you'll often have scenes in movies of like the ghetto and all these things that put people in a certain light that's just not very accurate. Sometimes equally they put females in lower domestic positions quite often, or I think more accurately they put a lot of white men in dominant roles. That gets me quite a lot because I think there's a big movement, and going forward I hope that there'll be more women in dominant roles, but at the moment there's a lacking in that department.
So, do you think that there are any kind of damaging stereotypes, ones that affect you or don't affect you, and do they bother you in any way?
Well, I think there are too many to talk about in this time frame, to be honest. Gender-wise, I think there is a problem with the way women are always treated as though men are literally all that matters to them. There's a test, I don't remember what it's called now, but it is like something that is like movies and TV shows are put to see if two female characters actually communicate with each other, not talking about a man, and so many fail, and they always romanticize like actions to do with men that shouldn't be romanticized, like abuse and stalkerish behaviour and stuff like that can be very damaging. I also think there are a lot of other damaging stereotypes, but not necessarily about gender. They're also like quite homophobic, that all queer people in movies and TV shows should be used as a comedy role, never taken seriously or treated like women. There's a gender sexuality link that feminine traits should be seen as something funny when they're to do with men. Yeah, I do think that Hollywood has made a lot of progression, but at the same time we're nowhere near where we need to be. Women need to be treated seriously in films, and even when we're talking about women having like films centering on women, they're still always just pining over a man. It's never, they need to be treated as their own individuals, and feminine traits need to be treated in a positive connotation.
So the point of conducting this research that we did yesterday was to essentially find out if people actually knew who the victims of sexual assault were. So in cases with Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Woody Allen, we wanted to know if people actually knew who their victims were. Because a lot of the time when victims come forward, they're often accused of trying to claim fame, trying to achieve recognition, trying to get their 15 minutes worth of fame. So I wanted to put this horrible notion to the test to see if people actually did know who these people were, because if that was the case, these people should be on headlines. They should be making headlines, they should be making news bulletins, they should be getting their own reality TV shows, but the reality of it is that they're not, and they're often met with a lot of backlash for the fact that they come forward. So we went through 3 different groups, so roughly about 70 people altogether. We asked them if they knew who the following people were: Anthony Rapp, Ari Ben, Sunyi, Dylan Farrow, Andrea Constant, Beverly Johnson, Lupita Nyong'o, Salma Hayek. Took a range of different people, men and women, and put their names to the test to see if people knew who they were. In about 3 groups, nobody knew who Ari Ben was. Ari Ben is a victim of sexual assault who made allegations against Kevin Spacey for saying that he groped his genitals. So within the 3 groups, we realised that a lot of these men and women are just not known at all. The only real statistics that we got with about 20, if not that, roughly 20 to 30 people overall realised that they knew the names of Lupita Nyong'o and Salma Hayek, but that's only because of the fact that they feel that they are celebrities. They do have recognition, they do have that fame in Hollywood, and so they may have known their names, but even then, they would have known of their names as actors, but not as victims of sexual assault.
I hope you've enjoyed our video and it's raised some really important things for you to think about. Thank you so much for watching, and we'd love to hear your feedback.
Through because I've got some directorial bits in it as well. So I'm thinking we're just talking, and then we're like, haha, and then I say, dear director, will you zoom in on me? And then I'm like, no, wait, zoom in on Jenny first, and she goes, dear director, why is it sexy for a man to be angry? And then I go, but it makes a woman crazy, jealous, psycho, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We will just be quite loud, right?
Yeah.
3. No, we
No,
need to
wait.
go this. Camera down.
Put the camera in the box.
Dear director, why is it sexy for a man to be angry?
But it makes a woman a psycho bitch. And then pan, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Action.
Dear director. Give me a second. Okay. Why does
Sorry,
why,
your time.
why does the geeky girl
Need
need a makeover to fit? Right, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my god, guys, did you see how cute he was?
Why? Dear director, fuck, dude.
We'll tell you before you can answer.
Wait, is this okay?
Is that good?
Is that an okay angle? Or do I look disgusting? Hey everybody, and welcome back. We're here today with Molly. So Molly, what are you working on this week?
Hi there. So I'm currently part of the Dear Director team. So it's really great. We're just bouncing ideas off each other, you know, and it's so topical for right now. I'm just finding it really interesting.
Amazing, yeah.
I think that in Hollywood they tend to play on stereotypes quite a lot. I think that's important, obviously, in the film industry. That's quite a lot. I think that's important, obviously, in the film industry.